This is the sixth lesson of Dars al-Fiqh, Shara'i al-Islam. And we said the rules of Jama'ah prayers is divided into three sections. We studied two sections of them, and now we are studying the third section, الطرف الثالث, or part 3. وفيه مسائل. There are certain مسائل here, about maybe 10 of them, or 11, or 12. 12 actually. الأولى إذا ثبت أن الإمام فاسق أو كافر أو على غير طهارة بعد الصلاة. Someone comes to the masjid, or not necessarily masjid, somewhere else, and he finds out that the imam was not even Muslim leading the prayers, and he's not Muslim, or he's a Muslim but he's not adil, he commits sins, okay, or he did not have wudu. Either the imam said to them, I didn't have wudu, or he realized that the imam came from the bathroom right to the mihrab without doing wudu, to make it a shortcut for his, Then the ma'moom, the follower, has nothing on him. His prayers is okay. He doesn't have to repeat his prayers. But if he realized these things, that the imam is non-Muslim or non-believer, sometimes non-believer, he has no iman, okay? He finds out after the prayer, during the prayers. He finds out before the prayers. Before the prayers, he know about these things, or the imam does not have wudu, then the ma'moom has to repeat his or her prayers. Now, if he knew during the prayers, there are two opinions. One opinion says, يستأنف. يستأنف means that he would halt his prayers, cut his prayers, and starts doing furada. Or does not have to cut his prayers. Immediately he changes his niyyah. He shifts his niyyah from jama'ah to furada. And then he finishes his prayers, and this opinion is the more appropriate, meaning that you don't have to cut off your prayers. You just shift the niyyah. Say, I'm no longer jama'ah. You don't have to say it. Think about it in your mind. I'll do فرادة. الثانية إذا دخل والإمام راكع. Sometimes the ma'moom comes while the imam is in the state of ruku', and he starts shouting, إن الله مع الصابرين, إن الله مع الصابرين. And sometimes the imam, he doesn't care, like me, because I don't want to waste people's time. We are not sitting in Najaf or Qum here. People have to go back to work, Every minute counts here. Maybe in other countries people have nothing. They go 2 hours, 3 hours to the masjid. But here you have to be always on time and respect people's time. In that case, if he fears the imam is going to raise his head and he's going to miss this rak'ah, from the door, when he entered the masjid, he can say Allahu Akbar, and he does ruku', and then he starts walking while he's doing ruku'. Because the movement in the salat is okay, as long as you are facing the Qibla. We mentioned this long time ago. As long as you are in the direction of Qibla, you can move. You can move while you are doing ruku'. You can move forward. Go 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines. While you are standing, someone moved, you can fill the gap. You can move during that. But while you are moving, even if you are not doing jama'ah, at home, you are standing, let's say, at the entrance. Your wife comes into the room and she says, hey, you are standing here disturbing, move. You can move, but you can't read. While you move, you don't do qira'ah. You stop reading, you move, and then you resume recitation. So in this case, he can do ruku', so at least to get the first rak'ah, does not miss the rak'ah, or the second rak'ah, maybe. And then he joins them. So while he's doing ruku', he can move forward and follows the jama'ah. الثالثة إذا اجتمع خنثى وامرأة. This is very rare example, but we read it. We said خنثى. What is the خنثى? Hermaphrodite. Huh? Hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite and a female. There is Imam. This lucky Imam has two people behind him. One of them is female, the other is hermaphrodite. Okay? Then the hermaphrodite has to stand behind the Imam, and the lady stands behind this person. So male, then mixed, then female.
And that's why I said yesterday we read that that person has to be the Imam then, right? It's because if there's women and the hermaphrodite, then that hermaphrodite has to
Can be the Imam. Can be the Imam.
Or must be.
If they are women
And khunta.
yes.
Then the khunta has
He
to
does.
be
He does the Imam. Yes, exactly. Because he's closer to male. So he says some people say this is wajib, it is mandatory, and others say that no, this is not wajib, mustahab. Some they say it's haram. The woman stands next to the hermaphrodite. It's haram on one line. It's haram. So the hermaphrodite has to be in front of her. Mustahab that he stands in front of the females. الرابعة إذا وقف الإمام في محراب داخل. Have you seen some masajid sometimes the mihrab is built in the wall. So the Imam alone stands there, the mu'mumeen after him. Now suppose Imam is standing inside the mihrab and there is a wall, the mihrab is like that, and there are ma'mumeen standing here but they don't see the Imam because the wall is separating them from seeing the Imam. In that case, their salat is not jama'ah. Why? Because the ma'mum either has to see the Imam himself or those who can see the Imam. Either he stands in the first line, he can see the Imam, or in the 10th line, he don't see the Imam, but he sees people who can see the Imam. But if they stand in the first line, neither they see the Imam themselves, nor they see people who can see the Imam. Are you with me? So they cannot do that. الخامسة لا يجوز للمأموم مفارقة الإمام بغير عذر. There is not allowed. It's not allowed for the ma'mum to change his niyyah, the jama'ah, to leave the jama'ah without an excuse, unless he has an excuse. So, and if he wants to leave, then he or she has to change the niyyah first. Change the niyyah from jama'ah into furada. That would be okay. So without changing the niyyah, he or she cannot leave the jama'ah, depart from the jama'ah, or separate himself or herself from the jama'ah. Number 6, الجماعة جائزة في السفينة الواحدة وفي سفن عدة سواء اتصلت السفن أو انفصلت. This is regarding ships traveling. So sometimes the ships are connected to each other, attached, and the Imam stands in one of them. Behind him there is one ship, more than one ship, the mu'mumeen is standing behind. Or sometimes Imam and few people with him in the first ship, in the second ship, the third ship, there are others. Whether these ships are connected or disconnected, it is okay. Let's say they are moving in the sea, line of ships. Okay? The flagship, Imam is standing in the flagship, the front one, he does the jama'ah, And in the ships behind him, the ma'mumeen, they can. But they have to see him. If they don't see him or hear his voice, how can they do ruku' and sujood? So at least they have to communicate visually. إذا شرع السابعة إذا شرع المأموم في نافلة فأحرم الإمام قطعها واستأنف. Sometimes the imam stands for Salatul Asr, let's say. The ma'mum is doing nafila of dhuhr. Although the nafila of dhuhr before. Let's say Maghrib and Isha. The imam is standing for Salatul Isha. Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Someone wants to begin the nafila. In that case, he should cut his nafila and follow the imam in the fariḍah, in the Isha. Okay? In khashiyah al-fawat, if he knows that if he wants to finish his prayers, the nafila, he would not catch the imam. Imam is going to finish his jama'ah, his fariḍah. Then in that case, he has to cut short his nafila to follow the imam in the fariḍah. وَإِلَّا, but if he knows that he's going to do that very quickly, أَتَمَّ رَكْعَتَيْنِ اسْتِحْبَابًا, only does 2 rak'ah of nafila, not because Maghrib has 4 rak'ah, 2 by 2. So he would do only 2. He should not do the other 2. He does only the 2 rak'ah quickly so he can catch the imam. وَإِن كَانَتْ فَرِيضَةً, if he is doing fariḍah, let's say. He comes to the masjid late, the imam has done the maghrib, now the imam is about to do the isha, and he wanted to do maghrib first. But as soon as he said Allahu Akbar, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, imam said قَدْ قَامَتُ الصَّلَاةِ for the isha. In this case, he shifts his niyyah of maghrib into nafila, and he does 2 rak'ah. Okay? 2 rak'ah of nafila, and then he joins the imam. Are you with me, Dr.
So
Amin?
the case says when you're here, some nights when we've gotten here late and you have finished Maghrib, you're getting ready to start Isha, and we come, then we join the Jama'ah, but we do Maghrib.
Yeah,
That's
we
okay?
said this two lessons ago.
Yeah.
That if the imam is doing Isha, you can do your Maghrib.
Right.
Or let's say you came before the imam, you did your Maghrib, now the imam are coming, he wants to do his Maghrib. You can do your Isha behind him while he's doing Maghrib.
But then isn't this saying something different though?
It's saying that if he stands, someone comes to the masjid, the imam already did his Maghrib. And this guy, as soon as wanted to do his Maghrib, the imam said, قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةِ for the Isha. Okay? In this case, he has to switch. Are you with me?
No.
Because he was doing it furada. The guy who came late,
It's the okay.
he was doing it furada.
Jama'ah, but the
So it's in this case, when he entered the Maghrib, already entered the Maghrib, he should switch it to nafila, 2 rak'ah, and conclude immediately to join the imam. So he can do his Maghrib with the imam who's doing the Isha. Are you with me? Now he says, وَلَوْ كَانَ إِمَامُ الْأَصْلِ قَطَعَهَا. If the Imam Ma'soom is doing this, you must break any prayers you do and join him. You don't do while the Imam doing Jama'ah, you are doing Furada there. No, you can't. Cut your, as soon as you hear قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةِ, whatever you are doing, cut it and join the Imam. الثامنة إذا فاته مع الإمام شيء صلى ما يدركه وجعل أول صلاته وأتم ما بقي عليه. Now, this is normal, it happens. You go to the masjid, the Imam is in his 2nd rak'ah, 3rd rak'ah, 4th rak'ah. Join him whenever you can, and once the Imam concludes, you finish your other rak'at. Okay? But in this case, if you come and the Imam is doing the 4 rak'ah, you also join him And when the Imam concludes, you do your other 3. And then you do in the second rak'ah, you have to do it because you joined him in the first rak'ah. You don't have to recite anything. Or you joined him while he was in the ruku'. You said Allahu Akbar, you go to ruku'. But in the second rak'ah, and the Imam concluded after that. He did salam, you stand. After his salam, you stand for your second rak'ah. In the second rak'ah, you have to recite normal hamd and surah. Okay? And in the third and fourth, either you recite hamd alone in each one or tasbihat. And many ulama, they say one tasbihah is enough. Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. One time is enough. You don't have to repeat that 3 times. Okay? And there is a debate, which one is better, Suratul Hamd or tasbihat? Some of them say tasbihat is more rewarding than Suratul Hamd, glorification of Allah. Okay? And then التاسعة إذا أدرك الإمام بعد رفعه من الأخيرة كبر وسجد معه. He comes unfortunately very late while the Imam did his Isha and he's doing his sujood. He could not catch him in the ruku'. So he can do Allahu Akbar and he goes down. He does sujood, but this is not counted as rak'ah. This is just the beginning of the prayers. Okay? So he does sujood with the Imam, and then at the time of tashahhud and taslim, you know how he sits? Okay? Once the Imam does tashahhud and taslim, concludes, he stands to do his first rak'ah. But here, they say there is a debate. Should he begin again, Allahu Akbar? He says, yes, the author says he has to say a new Allahu Akbar. But others, they say no. As long as he did the Allahu Akbar first, there is no need to say. But the author is saying, my opinion is more correct. So when he stands, he must do a new Allahu Akbar. So why then did he do this? Did he waste his time? Because he didn't gain anything. He has to do all 4 rak'ah. Exactly. He gets the thawab of full prayers. He gets the thawab of full prayers. Although he did not join them in any, he has to do all 4 rak'ah, but he got the thawab of Salatul Jama'ah. ولو أدركه بعد رفعه من السجدة الأخيرة كبر وجلس معه. In this case, when the Imam already has finished everything, including sujood, and he's doing tashahhud, again he says Allahu Akbar, and he sits with him and does tashahhud, okay? But he doesn't recite tashahhud because his duty is not to do tashahhud. فإذا سلم, once the Imam does the taslim, conclusion of the, he stands and does prayers without necessarily doing a new takbir. So when he stands, he just recites Hamd and Surah. No need to say Allahu Akbar. Okay? العاشرة يجوز أن يسلم المأموم قبل الإمام. Sometimes there is some emergency. The ma'moom, let's say there is a train that has to catch, or the bus, or his wife is honking outside waiting for him. Or sometimes women, the kids is crying. So when they reach tashahhud and taslim, he can conclude that, he can conclude it before the Imam and he can stand. But some jurists, they say he has to shift his knee at that portion from jama'ah to furada. Some people, they don't want to see that. In some masajid, it gets crowded after salat. So he wants to leave before. So he does the tashahhud and taslim before the Imam, and that is okay. That is okay. Al-Hadiya Ashra. This is okay, and there is no, the thawab is not going to be decreased. He would receive the same thawab. Al-Hadiya Ashra. This is sometimes women get upset when they read this. Not sometimes, all the times.
Definitely.
Yeah. Men and women are praying behind an imam, and the lines of the men are complete. Let's say one line complete, or two lines, or three lines, there is no more room. Someone, and then behind them women. Someone comes late and he can't squeeze himself in these lines, none of them, there is no room. In this case, for His Majesty who came late, women, the line of women have to withdraw back altogether. So sometimes you move forward, and sometimes for women they have to move backward. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. To make room for this guy who came late. But we don't do this in our masjid because we're going to have the Third World War. Yeah. Okay. الثانية عشر, the last مسألة in the مسائل of the Jama'ah prayers. إذا استنيب المسبوق. Sometimes someone who comes late to the prayers, people are before him, he comes late. And he comes late. When he comes late, of course, it means he's missing either one rak'ah or two rak'ah he's missing because he was not there right in the beginning. But for some reason, the imam, something happened to the imam. Imam collapsed, imam was, something happened, emergency. In this case, someone has to go forward. It is makruh to send. Do you remember last time we read? It's makruh to send someone who came late to be the imam. We studied this last lesson. You have to send someone who was there from the beginning. But let's say the imam, he loved this guy. He's a friend, his confidant, whatever. So he asked him to come forward. So when he comes forward, okay, in this case, who's going to finish his prayers first? The imam has collapsed. Forget about that. The imam is dead. This new imam who came late. Let me say this again. People are doing jama'ah. There is imam and behind him ma'mumin. Okay? Something happens to the imam. Something happens. Let's say he passed out. Okay? So someone has to go forward to finish the jama'ah with them, to continue with the jama'ah. Imagine someone who already came late, he missed one rak'ah, or let's say two rak'ahs. That person was pushed to the front to continue the salat of the jama'ah. So in this case, when they are praying, who did more rak'ah than the other, the imam or the ma'mum? Ma'mum. They did more rak'ah because this guy, he came late. In this case, if he comes late and he has to wait for them until they conclude their prayers and then he stands to finish it. Exactly the same way when the ma'mum waits for the imam until the imam finishes his prayers and then he stands to do the rest of his prayers. Now the imam has to do this in this case. The imam who came late. He sits. Let's say he waits for them. Let's say now he should not sit for tashahhud or taslim. It's not his turn to do it, but it is the turn of the ma'mumin to do tashahhud and taslim. But he has to wait for them. He does not stand for his third rak'ah, okay, or fourth rak'ah. He has to sit until they finish their tashahhud and taslim. Then he stands. Are you with me? وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. We have